Alright, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is KangasKhan, and I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. This is going to be a Zerg versus Terran on, what is this called? Sakura's Plateau. And it's going to be between myself, the green Zerg spawning in the left, bottom left corner, as KangasKhan, otherwise known as KangasKhan, and in the top right is going to be Dragonspear, the pink Terran. And these were just some practice matches I was doing with Dragonspear, showing the ropes of TVZ, and giving him a few pointers on how to improve his game. And I feel like of all the games that we played, this is probably the best one that he did. And just a few mistakes that I'm going to point out later on his part, but I think there was a lot of improvement so far. So right away, he's going to go ahead and wall off at his ramp. And I'm going to go ahead and turn out my drone scout at 9. And I'm sending my Overlord over to this location so I can make sure that we are not spawning close positions, I guess, by this hallway. And if we're spawning cross positions, I will be in very good shape because I won't have to worry so much about drops. But this drone is going to make his way over to the base. And I was actually having a conversation with Failzerg, another caster, about what should be the name of your scouting unit. And I think it was actually the scouting Zergling gets certain names. I think he names his Sheldon. And this guy won't have a name. Actually, we can call him Dexter. So Dexter the drone is picking away at this SUV that is trying to make the barracks very annoying. This is what every Zerg should do, is just annoy the crap out of these workers. And meanwhile, you can see I'm kind of macro failing behind this. So I'm going to go ahead and make an extractor so I can go back to focusing on my own macro. I'm going to finally throw down my expansion on 15. I have pretty good Overlord placement here. And this drone is going to cancel that and come back. And he's going to pick off the building SCV, so that's a big one for me. I'm delaying his barracks by a lot. If he should choose to do any early aggression, it would be thwarted. But I'm going to try and focus back on my macro, which is why I'm making that extractor. I don't really need to do that. I'm going to try and come back in here. As you can see, Terrans really hate that mechanic. And take off a few shots from these SCVs. But I am going to be chased away a little bit. And now the next annoying thing you can do is just do a little patrol with this drone here. And it messes up the mechanics so they can't go in and wall off. But he is going to finally get the wall off. And that will shoo me away from the base. He needs to be making a marine ASAP. And he's floating a lot of minerals right now. He could go ahead and throw down his expansion. There he goes. He should have done that a lot earlier because he had so many minerals floating. But anyways, it looks like this SCV is going to scout my 15 hatch. And my pool is going to go down. It looks like I have 3 drones on gas, very good. And making 6 Zerglings, a queen, and very soon we'll probably get metabolic boost since I am mining gas. So let's check out Camp Dragonspear. He's just scouting around with this marine, very smart. He's just going to go ahead and pick off any lingering overlords, or, well, overlords wouldn't be here right now, but any lingering drones might be hanging out behind here. And looks like he's going to go for the 3 barracks wall off. This is very smart. It's pretty baneling proof. And actually what you can do is put maybe a bunker in put a supply depot maybe right here. And then a bunker maybe right here. So it just depends on what you want to do. But he's going for the 3 racks wall off. I meanwhile am just droning up happily. I have my 2 queens out. I'm going to go ahead and spread my creep tumor because I want creep all over this map. I want creep all in this section. And quite literally, if it spans from here all the way down to my base, I'm very happy. So I want creep all over the map, and that's why I'm starting on that creep spread immediately instead of that drone inject, that larva inject, because I can't afford drones anyways. But let's go ahead and look back at his base. I guess I can make this cast more of a criticism on how he plays. So I'm going to go ahead and throw down a spine just to be safe. And since he went for the 3 racks expand, I think I scout this. I'm going to go ahead and take my 3rd. Yeah, the Ling did scout this. As you can see, he took a few pot shots from a marine. So, let's see here. He needs to make up his mind. There you go. He's going to run back out with his SCV and scout. This needs to become an orbital command immediately. There we go. He needs to immediately start producing marines. And looks like he's starting work on his factory. He needs to start producing marines, though. Maybe set these all to a control group. And really just 3 AAA. But I'm not sure where he is currently focused at. I'm guessing he's running around with this SCV trying to see what he can scout. Meanwhile, I am throwing down a baneling nest at my natural. These queens need to be injecting. Inject. Inject. I'm not going to inject. That's terrible. So bad macro by me. We need focusing on sending these Zerglings back to pick away at this SCV. Meanwhile, I'm making 7 more drones, injecting. Inject, you stupid frickin' queen. Oh well. Looks like I'm starting to get a little bit oversaturated the space. I can make this into a layer. And I can go ahead and take my gas, maybe throw down 1 or 2 Evo chambers as well. And let's look at the income harvesters tab. 23 to 31, doing pretty good myself. I'm actually pretty far ahead, but because of these mules, he's actually tied up with me. But really, he needs to be doing non-stop SCV production, which he's doing very good. So far, not really any hiccup in his macro. It looks like he's going for a tech lab on that factory, which suggests tank play. He needs to keep making Marines. He just stops making Marines when he runs out with this Hellion. And really, you can just send it out here and just attack and move with it and focus on your macro. But, yeah, his Marine production is really lacking. So he could really have a menacing and scaring force right here, but he's just not doing much. Instead, he's throwing down an engineering bay. He could be making, yep, he's making more SCVs. Stem is about halfway finished, and he's starting on siege. Meanwhile, I am spreading creep like crazy because I love creep being everywhere. As Zerg, you do want to creep it up. I don't know why I'm making 26 Zerglings. I guess that one Hellion, I thought maybe he might have 4 or 6 behind that. So I did want to make sure I could go ahead and take care of any Hellion run-bys. These drones are hiding out because I'm expecting a Hellion run-by. But they're finally going to get back to work. And it looks like the layer is finished. I need to go ahead and start on my Spire. Morphing in an Overseer. The Zergling is going to hightail it out of here because this Hellion is just really good for clearing away Zerglings from watchtowers. Now he's wisely going to move around. These Zerglings are going to try and catch up with him. He's not going to be here. So he's probably at the other control tower. I'm going to send my Zerglings over there. And I'm going to pick off this one Hellion. So now I have both towers. And meanwhile, let's see what he's doing over here. I'm sending my Overseer to position right over outside of his natural, make a changeling, and scout around and see what his army composition is. Really, he should have twice as many Marines. He really should have twice as many Marines. But he's letting his minerals get a little bit too high. Throwing down some turrets, I do like this. It's a little bit late. Had I got my Spire down faster, which is just starting, so not great macro on my part either. I'm a little bit supply locked, so I'm making 6 Overlords, which is completely standard. And not injecting yet again. Could be making a macro hatch, could be sending these drones to gas, but I'm just going to be content to mine a lot of minerals. So looks like my changeling is going to come in here and see that he was thinking about dropping, but it's not going to drop. Again, okay, looks like he's making more Marines. He's making more supply depots immediately, and maybe throw down a tech lab on the starport once the third medevac comes out. And what am I doing in the meantime? Looks like I'm getting centrifugal hooks. Finally put some of those drones on gas. These guys are on gas finally. And finally getting these guys on gas. So doing okay macro wise, but I could be doing a lot better. This is actually really bad. And I could be spreading creep a lot better as well. But let's look in here. Oh, sneaky, sneaky. He's gonna drop. And this is one of the strongest points I had to say with this game that he did. This right here could have been the game changer. Very much could have been. So he's going to sneak around this drop. I do have an Overlord in position to scout any sort of drops incoming into my main. But I think right now I'm focusing on my creep spread. As we can see, it's making its way towards the middle of the map. It's a very good thing to have. I have a couple of Mulists just hanging out over here. Came up with a drone production, throwing down an infestation pit. Finally moving away some of these drones. It's still a little bit oversaturated. But at least I moved away some of those drones, maybe to go mine minerals over here. And so now this drop is finally going to come in, and it's going to do a world of damage. My army is way over here, way out of position, and I'm not going to be able to respond in time. I'm going to have to run away with these drones, and he's going to stem and focus fire down the Spire, and he's going to get it because my army is just way too out of position. He stems again, the Spire does go down, and he does run away with a nearly full dropship, but these Mutalisks will chase it down and should be able to take it out. He's going to want to drop these Marines, which he does, but the dropship does go down, and now I'm immediately having to remake the Spire. These guys are not mining, and my Zerglings are running out in the middle map because they don't know what else to do. So what could he have been doing during that drop? He could have been moving all these tanks and Marines and moved them out to the middle of the map. He could have had a really nice siege right now, because this is all I have. It's not that many Zerglings. I have a bunch of drones just hanging out here, not doing much. Finally getting back to work. Decided to throw down at the 4th. And pretty good saturation over here. A little bit oversaturated over here. Let's look at my income tab. 82 to 43. He's really slacking on SCV production and really slacking on the Marine production. He really needs more Marines. So he could honestly move this barracks and then just start streaming in Marines. Maybe put a supply depot or two right here so we can open them up. But with this many tanks, he can hold it. And these dropships and these tanks could be meeting up with this force. A 5-tank force is much scarier than a 3-tank force. So he's going to go ahead and siege up just in case I try to run by with my Zerglings. Very smart, very cautious. But again, he needs to reinforce this. He has so many tanks parked out here and he's not doing anything with them. A lot of idle SCVs as well. The expansion is going down. He can go ahead and land it right now. And throwing up offensive missile turrets, I like that. He's going to go ahead and pick off some Pre-Tumors. These Mutalisks need to get to work or do something. They're just lazily hanging around. 16 Mutalisks are on the way with +2 attack also on the way. This is a little bit oversaturated. Finally get some drones back on gas. Okay, finally getting more drones back on gas. I need to be starting on my +1 flyer attacks. Looks like I'm a little bit preoccupied. This Queen needs to inject. Looks like I'm doing okay on macro here, and I need to start on my +1 ground, but I think I'm going to be saving all this gas since I see this tank Marine force encroaching. I'm going to save all this gas for some Banelings, which would be a great idea, starting on my Pathogen Glands and Immatized Carapace to help with creep spread and scouting. So more Zerglings on the way, and he is picking off more Creep Tumors. And it would have been nice if he could have come in here, stemmed, and killed off all these Creep Tumors. That would have hurt so much. But instead he's going to be a little bit cautious. He's going to hang back, and he's slowly sneak up with only 3 tanks. So we're going to stop here. If he had been macroing correctly, he would have had double the amount of Marines. He can afford it, as we can see. If he had double the amount of tanks, they're all just hanging out in his base, not doing anything. He could have lifted up one of these barracks, moved it over here, maybe made a supply depot or two right here to finish the wall off. And he would have been fine. All you need is 2, maybe 3 tanks back here defending. The rest need to be rallied over here. So he's going to be taking his expansion as well. Starport is not producing anything, but really he needs to just focus on making more tanks. He needs to make maybe another factory or 2, and definitely needs to make more barracks. So we're going to see how this pans out. His army is encroaching, and I'm waiting for my Banelings to finish. I don't want to engage the Marines before these Banelings finish, but he's trying to move up with the Marines, and now I decided it's the time to attack. He's being caught out of position, and these Banelings are just going to wreck through all of those Marines. And he is picking off more Creep Tumors. And it would have been nice if he could have come in here, stemmed, and killed off all these Creep Tumors. That would have hurt so much. But instead he's going to be a little bit cautious. He's going to hang back, and he's slowly sneak up with only 3 tanks. So we're going to stop here. If he had been macroing correctly, he would have had double the amount of Marines. He can afford it, as we can see. If he had double the amount of tanks, they're all just hanging out in his base, not doing anything. He could have lifted up one of these barracks, moved it over here, maybe made a supply depot or 2 right here to finish the wall off. And he would have been fine. All you need is 2, maybe 3 tanks back here defending. The rest need to be rallied over here. So he's going to be taking his expansion as well. Starport is not producing anything, but really he needs to just focus on making more tanks. He needs to make maybe another factory or 2, and definitely needs to make more barracks. So we're going to see how this pans out. His army is encroaching, and I'm waiting for my Banelings to finish. I don't want to engage the Marines before these Banelings finish, but he's trying to move up with the Marines, and now I decided it's the time to attack. He's being caught out of position, and these Banelings are just going to wreck through all of those Marines. Now, that shouldn't have been such a one-sided battle. Honestly, if he had had twice the amount of tanks and Marines as he did, he would have done... oh, goodness. He would have done so much damage. But anyways, these Mutalisks are going to come in. And that's GG. There's nothing he can do at this point to come back. He doesn't have a third. He doesn't have enough Marines. He doesn't have enough production. He doesn't have enough tanks. Nothing. So I can just run in here and kill everything. So, in a nutshell, he needed to make more barracks. You can't let your minerals float that high. I'm on 4 base, and I can just reproduce a ridiculous army. More Zerglings are streaming in. And I think that once he sees these Zerglings stream in, he's going to know the gig's up. But these Zerglings are just doing so much damage. And they are finally going to stream in and finish off the game. Dragonspear is going to realize that it is a lost cause. GG's out. And that is the game. But I did want to commend Dragonspear on the drops. They did a lot of damage. They diverted my attention. And he really does well with those. He needs to continue with those drops. Even when Munulus are out, you can sometimes sneak by and fit in drops here and there. And you think, oh, you know, what about Overlord placement? If Overlords are over this path, you just drop them out and kill the Overlords. But anyways, that'll do it for this cast. I hope we all learned something. And please do not take cue from my macro. It was really bad that game. I apologize. But anyways, that's all for right now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Take it easy. Peace.